Hello and welcome to BigJimGaming. The leaks are out there, they're virtually confirmed. At some point, in an unspecified date, we're going to get new Tomb Raider. Now, let's face it, with Lara, that was always going to happen. She's hot property in gaming. But what if you want to play some Tomb Raider now? Well, you do of course have the most recent trilogy. If you haven't played these yet, play them. They're amazing. Honestly, absolutely fantastic games. The problem is, for a Tomb Raider fan like me, I've played these to death. I want more Tomb Raider goodness in my life. What can I do? Aha! There's a solution. When you've played the most recent trilogy to death, just go to the previous one. I have here for the PlayStation 3 the triple pack for the trilogy before the most recent one. You have here Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, and of course Tomb Raider Underworld. And let me tell you, these games are good. Now of course there's been a lot of offshoots of Lara Croft, the majority of them actually pretty good. But in the main console trilogy series, these are actually the next ones before the reboot. And they're also the first ones made by Crystal Dynamics, a name I'm sure you're familiar with when talking about Tomb Raider. You see, since Lara Croft burst onto the scene with the original PlayStation in 1996, and yes, I remember it, I was there, I had the first one on my PlayStation, and it was amazing. It was groundbreaking at the time, and let's face it, the model's been used time and time again. There were a total of 5 games on the original PlayStation. All of them actually really good. For the time, you have to appreciate this was a little while ago. Then of course we had Angel of Darkness. But we won't talk about that. Shh. Clearly, after that, they had to come back with a bang. They had to save Lara. And they did it. First of all, in 2006, Tomb Raider Legend. As we kick off the trilogy, they keep all the elements of Lara Croft that we've come to love, including the tombs. Yes, I know. Who would have thought in Angel of Darkness getting rid of the tombs would be a bad idea? We join Lara on a quest for Excalibur. She's against her former friend, Amanda Everett. I hope that's how you say it. And it features an all-new, redesigned Lara with heavy input from the original creator of Lara back in the mid-90s. It's a bit more action-centred than the previous games. Of course, with technology having moved on, you could do a lot more with it. You could improve the gameplay, make it a bit quicker, a bit more intense. But you still had the puzzle solving, the exotic locations, and I've got to say, for the time, a graphically impressive environment and character as well. This game kicked things off well and set the tone for what was going to be a very, very successful return to form. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, in all 3 of these games, the voice talents of Miss Keeley Hawes are present as the voice of Lara Croft. You might be familiar with her from television series such as Ashes to Ashes and Bodyguard. And I'm telling you, her voice for Lara, match made in heaven. Now, this was always planned as a trilogy. It was always going to be, and thankfully, they followed through with it because it was successful. We get to the middle of the trilogy, and we have a game here which is only loosely connected to the previous game, Legend, and the upcoming game, which we'll get to. This is Tomb Raider Anniversary. Launched in 2007 for the PS2, the Xbox 360, the PSP, and the Wii, we join Lara on a quest for the Scion of Atlantis. Does that sound familiar? It should do, because this is actually a remake of the first original Tomb Raider game from 1996. In this trilogy, it's treated as a prequel to Tomb Raider Legend. And it is very faithful to the source material. They've upgraded the graphics, they've upgraded all the gameplay actually, so it does play with what at the time of course was a modern feel. If you play the original Tomb Raider and then play this, you'll appreciate them both as good games, but you'll realise just what a leap forward Anniversary actually was. And I've got to give credit to the developers here, because they kept everything which we knew and loved about the original game, including the dinosaurs. There's of course puzzles to solve, as there are in pretty much every Tomb Raider game. Again, a faithful recreation of the originals, but the graphic improvements make it so much better. I'm actually a massive fan of this game. I was a huge fan of the original, so for them to do such an absolutely brilliant job like this, you've got to be impressed. This game doesn't get much love anymore. In fact, it's barely mentioned, like all of these games. But it should. As you can tell, I really like Anniversary. I'm a big fan of remasters of my favourite games, because as much as I love the original Tomb Raider, in fact I love my PS1 in general, I still play it. It is dated, and you have to accept when playing a PS1 game, it's of the time, which is why I dare say some younger gamers don't have much interest. So to bring things up to date, as it was then, it just made such an improvement. Honestly, this is an experience of a game. If you're a long-time Tomb Raider fan and it's missed you out, give it a go. Your faithful memories of the original Tomb Raider are still intact. Just better. And finally, we get to the third entry in this trilogy, to what I think is actually the strongest game of the three. It is Tomb Raider Underworld. This game was in 2008 and actually only launched for the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360 and the Nintendo Wii, with a Nintendo DS port as well. Same story, very different gameplay. This is a continuation of Legend. You're still chasing against Amanda Everett, trying to beat her to the punch. This time, the story is really engaging because it introduces a personal note for Lara. You see, you're basically searching for your mother. Now, I don't want to give too many spoilers here, but it is an older game, so I'm sure that you will let me off. She's searching for Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. The reason for it is she wants to enter Helheim to see what happened to her mum, with the smallest hope that she might still be able to be reached. I won't say any more on the story there, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but trust me, it really does take you on an emotional roller coaster here. You've got the chase against Amanda. You've got the exotic locations. The gameplay is improved yet again from Legend. You've got the added equipment with the grappling hook, which adds an extra level of gameplay, which I personally really enjoy. It also adds extra elements to the puzzle solving, making them a little bit deeper, but a little bit more enjoyable. And of course, we're introduced to a character which is a little bit more famous than this game within the Tomb Raider franchise, Jacqueline Natler. But I won't say any more about her, because again, I don't want to spoil anything. It is definitely worth playing these games in order. Anniversary doesn't add a tremendous amount to the story, but to go from Legend to Underworld, it's all encompassing, it's really engaging, and when you've finished it, you'll take a moment just to take it all in. Now, let me be clear. I am not saying a PlayStation 3 game, and 2 games originally launched on the PlayStation 2, play like the latest game. If you want Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you've got to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider. There's a difference. But take them in for what they are. Really good, fantastic Tomb Raider experiences. Wonderful, engaging stories, true to the source that was launched back in 1996 and improved upon in every way. I love these games. I think you will too. If you like tomb raiding, if you like Lara, if you like anything remotely linked to Indiana Jones, you're going to enjoy these. It is a true shame that these games are trapped on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. I would love them to get a bit of a refresh and come forth to the PlayStation 4 or 5. even if it's just through PlayStation Access. But what do you think? Have you played any of these already? What do you think of them? Or, if you've got access to that previous generation of consoles, the PS3 or Xbox 360, have I persuaded you to give them a go? Honestly, they're really cheap to pick up. I got this entire trilogy from CEX for £8. £8 for 3 games. Or, if you don't think these are for you, what's your favourite Tomb Raider game? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you all as always. I've got plenty more videos coming. So until then, watch this space. I'll see you soon.